I was born to run. Welcome to another Nuclear Nonsense knocking on heaven's door. Uncle Gary saw a UFO hovering above a nuclear silo last week, and we haven't heard from him since. Episode of the Days Grim. My name is Brian Michael Day.
My name is Thomas Grimm.
Joining us today, my friend, my fellow man of the Lord, Chris Barron. What's up, dude?
What's going on, guys?
What's up, dude? What's up?
How you doing?
I'm pretty good. We're gonna talk a little bit, probably a lot about nukes today.
Yeah,
I'm pretty pumped. And I was telling you about that
nuclear war book.
Annie Jacobson's nuclear war scenario. So like, I feel like I'm way tuned up for this conversation.
Yeah,
today.
jacked up, man.
Yeah, I know a lot about this. I know more than I probably should. So I'm pretty excited, man. But yeah, so it's a beautiful Sunday. You know, you're fresh out of the Lord's perspiration.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Tom doesn't believe in that stuff. So
I don't know where I fall.
Man, so you're doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Yeah,
Have
I'm
a
on
good
my I'm on my long stretch of break from work right now. So
What's a long stretch? From
7-day break.
Damn.
Yeah, every 6 weeks I get a 7-day break.
That's fucking nice.
It's pretty sweet.
That is nice. So what do you got to do? Like, are they 7 days in a row to get that?
So I got off day shift on Wednesday, and then unless they ask me to come in for some overtime or something like that, I don't have to go back in until Thursday night.
Nice.
Damn, that's not bad.
It's pretty sweet.
That's a sweet gig.
Yeah.
That's a sweet
Every
gig.
6 weeks, man. So
Damn, dude. You think, okay, well, actually, let's break the ice here. First thing we like to do in the beginning of the episode is, so folks know who you are and what we're going to talk about today, like a 60-second-ish elevator pitch. Chris Barron, who are you and what do you do? What have you done? What are we going to talk about today?
Okay. Chris Barron from Mount Vernon, Indiana.
Yeah.
You know, represent the POCO.
Yeah, not a thing to be proud of.
No, Meth Vernon.
I'm just teasing Mount Vernon.
I got out of there, and then I went to college for a short cup of coffee, and then I joined the Air Force. I was there for 5 years, 4 months, and 3 days. And then kind of like a prison sentence. You know how long
Hell yeah,
you're
you
there.
count the days.
You
down
know?
there. You're shaving them in a concrete wall.
And I got out, and I've been out for like 9-10 years now.
Sick,
and
dude.
I work for the Army Corps of Engineers, and family of 2, and well, I guess 3. My wife and 2 kids. And
How old are your kids?
7, just turned 7, and 3.
Nice.
Yeah, so
That's
2
a
boys.
handful.
Yeah,
Oh, 2 boys.
yeah, 2 boys.
So you probably had to up your homeowner's insurance a little bit.
Man, they're crazy.
You're ready for it to be burnt down.
Oh man, they're nuts, dude.
13's the worst.
They're
You
nuts.
remember.
Oh, I was there once.
When you find out what gas does,
Man, they're crazy.
shit gets
dude.
dicey, dude.
Start
They're
mixing
crazy.
styrofoam
So-
in the gas and making homemade napalm.
I don't think you can talk about that.
Hashtag NAM.
That's a war crime. Oh shit, dude! You got your hands full though, man. So
Yeah.
you got 3. You got a 1 on the way. Is that what's happening?
No, I'm done. No, we're done.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you have 2 kids.
Wait, we do
two-
celebrate vasectomies. Did you get a
Not
you
yet,
get the
not
snip,
yet.
snip? Okay.
I'm saving that for like the playoff time in the baseball season, like later this
Nice.
year. So
Hell
yeah.
So you can just loaf out.
So I can take like a week off and just watch playoff baseball.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
so nice.
Yeah.
I need to do that when I do mine.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Just do it right around January, February.
Right, Super Bowl time. I hear January, February, and March is the most popular time because people want for football playoffs and they want for March Madness.
See, that's what's funny is I always, right when football season approaches, I have a nickname for it, and it's called Toxic Brian season.
Yeah.
And it's the whole entire football season.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we record on Sundays mostly. We make exceptions, obviously, but like for the most part, we record on Sundays. And then come football season, I'm like, sorry,
Yeah, I actually just went to my first NFL football game
Yeah,
last
you told
week.
me preseason
Yeah,
at Indy versus who'd they play?
Arizona.
Arizona.
Yeah.
They whooped that ass, didn't they? Indy won.
Indy won. Yeah,
Yeah. They
Good game.
whooped- Richardson looks really great. He hates it when I talk about sports because he knows nothing about football.
Yeah.
But Richardson does look really fucking good.
He's a
this year.
freak, man.
He's a specimen.
Yeah, yeah, it's nuts.
So man, all right. So that's gonna be what we talk about today. We're gonna talk a little bit about kind of like what you do now,
All right.
and we'd like to do a timeline. So we'll start from like you being a chitrin, and then all the way to the man we have before us today.
Yeah.
And if we ask you anything, because it's not scripted, that's inappropriate or bothers you, just let me know, and we'll just shut it down.
Yeah, I played the fifth.
Yeah, dude.
I watch Suits.
Yeah, dude. But really, nothing's off limits here. So, like, sex, drugs, rock and roll, man. So, high likelihood that we're going to make you a little uncomfortable at some point.
All right.
Okay, so have you seen any of the episodes before?
It's been a while, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We do this little treat called the Death of the Week every week. Now, this little segment that we do is highly sought after for two reasons. Either people love it and they can't wait to see who died this week,
Okay.
or they want to know. The other scenario is they want to know, like, why we're being a piece of shit this week. Like, who are we making fun of this week? And then they write us hate mail and all kinds of cool stuff.
All right.
It's really great.
You guys get hate mail?
Yeah, we've gotten some pretty egregious messages when it comes to the Death of the Week. A lot of Karens out there just really
Caring about death.
Yeah.
salting up the waters, dude. But yeah, Tom, if you would be so kind.
The death of the
This week's Death of the Week brought to you by The Guardian. You know it's good. This article was written, looks like Tuesday, the 26th, July, 2022. By Helena Smith, maybe? Yeah, that sounds good. Here we go. British tourist, 21, killed by helicopter blade in Greece. 3 arrested after hit by rear rotor while reportedly trying to take a selfie at a heliport in Athens. Goes on to read. A Greek prosecutor has ordered an inquiry into the death of 21-year-old British man killed by a spinning rotor blade after disembarking in Athens. Yeah, disembarking in Athens from a helicopter chartered from Mykonos. 2 ground engineers and the aircraft's pilot who had been detained after the incident on Monday were freed pending the results of the investigation, which is expected to be fast-tracked. Quote, our inquiry has focused on possible negligence. Basic questions have emerged from witnesses' testimony as to why the blades were not at a standstill when passengers were allowed to disembark on Monday, per a police source. The victim, identified as, was killed instantly. He was due to return to the UK on a private jet after holidaying with his parents on Mykonos. Let's see. Greek media reported that the Oxford Brookes University student was struck by the helicopter's rear rotor while attempting to take a selfie within seconds of the Bell 407 touching down at a helipad near Spada. However, Jack Stanton Glaves, a friend of who was also in the helicopter, told Mail Online, that's a good source, Mail Online, that the student was not using his phone when the accident happened. How much farther do you want me to go on this, dude? This is a real bummer all of a sudden.
You can read just down to the here.
Okay, so parents who were flying behind in a second helicopter were reportedly unaware of the tragedy when their own pilot was alerted and they were diverted to Athens International Airport. A fleet of awaiting limousines had been due to take the group to the airport from the helipad. The Mykonos-Athens passage has become a popular route for Superior Air, the aviation company that operated the luxury helicopter. Mykonos, which has attracted the likes of Elon Musk this summer, has become a magnet for the super rich. Oh, dude, I feel so much less bad now.
Dude, the fact that they were just going to get on a private jet and return to the UK afterwards should.
I started getting the hint when I read a damn line of limousines was coming to pick them up. I'm like, yeah, dude, honestly, I'm not mad if a couple of millionaires die a year. You know what I mean? I'm not mad. Even the score a little, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah, dude.
Brutal vacay.
Not great. Dude. Or holiday for the Brits.
Holiday. Across the pond.
Not great, dude. This fella kind of looks like he got his hair cut 20 years ago.
I got more than his haircut 2 years ago.
Yeah, he said just a little off the top, and they took the top.
Oh, it's brutal.
Yeah, it's pretty rough, dude. What do you think about that? Do you have much experience with aircraft at all, having been in the Air Force?
I have zero experience with aircraft.
Zero?
We had Hueys. We had helicopters. We had Vietnam era Hueys.
Vietnam era.
And I'm not exaggerating.
And you rode around in them.
I did not. No, I didn't. A lot of people that I worked with and stuff did, but I personally never.
One thing
did.
I like to brag about. One thing I love to brag about with my time of service, and dude, I don't know if a lot of vets get to do this, but everyone I've talked to, not a lot of them have ridden around in helicopters and stuff. Dude, riding around in a Chinook, like pre-mission, like they're about to drop you off somewhere.
Yeah, school bus in the sky, man.
You got that song.
Dude, you just get fucking apart. I don't know. You just get hard as shit. Like you are amped up, blood boiling, heart thumping in your neck, dude. You're just like on it.
Yeah,
flying around in a Blackhawk, same thing. Super
I
hot.
hear Blackhawks are smooth, man.
Oh, so hot. Smooth. Oh, the Chinook isn't bad either. They go so fast. Oh, such a great time. But yeah, so what do you think about that death of the week, man? A little bit off the.
I think that's brutal, man. That's brutal. Hate that for anybody.
Yeah, you don't love it.
It's not
At least it was probably kind of instant, and not like.
That's what it said.
Oh, you don't think he suffered when his head flew off?
Just briefly.
Man, I think that's brutal, dude.
Could you? Okay, let's pretend for a moment we're all getting off of a helicopter.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna get away from it.
Aren't you away? Yeah, I'm about to walk away, bro. Shouldn't you be like obscenely aware of the fucking rotors that are moving 100 rotations per minute? You know what I mean?
That article goes on to say that like they weren't informed of like waiting until getting out. God.
I mean, but if he was trying to take a selfie, it's one of those.
It's kind of like you did it. You kind of were asking for it.
But I mean, get away from the rotors, man.
I hate the bougie, like, look at me thing. Speaking of that, a funny thing in LA that they're doing. Actually, I don't think it's in LA. I think it's in a town outside of LA, but you can drive out there and there's like this hangar and they have a bunch of like staged private jets.
Yeah.
And they can like create sceneries out the windows to make it look like you're flying.
For the influencers.
Yeah,
out there.
and it's for influencers. Have you seen this shit?
Goodness.
And they pay $200 and they get to go walk around on this jet and drink
for
champagne.
like an hour.
Yeah.
Just to pose like they're
just
on
to
like
have
a
it
just for a photo op.
That's wild,
isn't it?
Influencers in the wild, man. They're crazy.
They are, dude. You like see people with a camera, and they're like,
me and my wife were just watching them. We were just in Florida like last month, and we were just watching. Man, they're everywhere at the beach. They're everywhere.
Oh yeah,
it's wow, that is nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. Like the time that we live in is. Have you ever seen the film Idiocracy?
Nah.
You got to watch it, dude. It's basically the degradation of human beings and the American country as a whole.
Speaking of
like we're there.
Degradation of society, what was it like growing up in Poco? Meth Vernon.
Oh,
Awesome segue.
Not much to do.
Really?
But, yeah, I mean, but we found things to do pretty much like everybody else in the 90s and early 2000s, right? We were like right on the cusp of the the internet age and stuff.
Yeah.
And, nobody had smartphones or anything like that. And if you did have a smartphone, it wasn't really.
Yeah,
like
what was it back then? It was the BlackBerry. Was the smartphone.
Razor.
Yeah, like Bass. Bass had like that sweet flip phone. I thought that was cool. I had a Razor.
The Matrix.
The BlackBerry was dope because it had a mouse.
The ball on it?
Yeah, so you could use your cursor and people, like, if you had an email that you could, like, log into and use, like, I mean, the BlackBerry just held the throne for so long.
That was back whenever you could get a phone like that and not have the internet.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, man, I can't click on that.
It was operating.
Charge me.
It was all strictly operating off of SMS.
But like, it was all right though. I worked out at the Mac Center. That's where I worked at.
Oh, yeah.
That's my job. So that was like the cool place to go and like hang out, like especially if you played sports and stuff like that. So that was the gym, basketball court, and driving range and stuff.
Did you play sports in high school or growing up?
Yeah, I played baseball. I played baseball through high school and into college.
Where'd you go to college?
Albany Central.
Where's that?
It's out in the middle of nowhere in Illinois, just like across the Wabash. From,
I hate it when I hear
Vincent's.
people that leave Indiana to go to Illinois for any reason.
Illinois is gross.
So disgusting. I mean, Mount Vernon's not my top pick, but like tenfold better than Illinois.
It was all right. I was literally only there for the first semester, and I was like, man, school still ain't for me.
What'd you go for?
Baseball. I didn't have. I think maybe like criminal justice. I don't know.
Don't remember.
I don't remember.
It's nice, dude.
It was. I was literally only there for a semester, and I was like, this still isn't for me, man. I still hate school.
So you didn't even roll into the second semester.
Didn't even do the second semester.
Did you even finish the first semester?
I finished the first semester.
And
So I was there.
You were dragging yourself across that finish line,
dude.
dude.
I was literally there for baseball, and whenever it was like, hey, you're battling for like second string, I was like, all right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wasn't starting or anything like that. Like I would play every now and then, but that was just for like the fall season, and I could tell how the upcoming season was getting ready to go. So I was like, man, this just isn't for me.
Crazy
anymore.
talent.
And there was a real bad. We had people from Canada, people from Texas, we had people from all over the country and Canada playing on our baseball, and we had basketball living above us in our dorm.
Isn't that wild to think of? I just listened to a podcast the other day about this NFL player. He moved from Canada, came to America to play football in high school. Fuck, I can't remember where he went. In California somewhere, high school, and he was playing there. And he said, when I was in Canada, like when you were in high school,
right?
I was the best. I was the most athletic person.
Yeah,
no one could beat me at anything.
Right.
And then he said, but then my family moved to California because they knew that I had a future in this game, football. They moved him to California, and he goes to like Oakland something, and it's like
gross.
The spot, like the school to get promoted to go to a good school for
college. And
so it was like, this high school only does football, like Odessa, Texas, and so on and so forth. He gets there, and he was like, just like you said, he was like, I almost wound up second string. Dude, he was like, the amount of talent.
Oh, it's crazy.
The jump. Even if you're like the most athletic dude
right?
If as soon as you go into a bigger pond, you're like,
and that was just at a junior college, man. It's like whenever
JUCO,
whenever like in high school, it's like, man, I've always been one of the better
pretty
players.
Good, yeah.
I've always been one of the better players.
Yeah.
And like I was one of three, me, Ross, and Adam.
Yeah, Ross is stud.
We lettered in as a sophomore for varsity, and it was like, we've always been some of the best. And then as soon as I went to college, I was like, man, I'm just another dude.
And you're at JUCO, and there's dudes lighting you up.
I was at a JUCO, man. I was like, man, I was batting like seventh. I was like, man, I've never batted this low in a lineup in my life.
So when you get out of college, what makes you take the decision to join the military?
Yeah, so I had, I was like, so 9/11 happened, like the anniversary of 9/11 happened.
Never forget.
And I was just sitting there, and I was just watching like the
we were in sixth grade, I believe.
Yeah, we were in sixth grade when it happened.
Miss Jackson's class.
And I was in college, and they were showing it on TV again for the anniversary. And I was just like, man, it's crazy.
Yeah,
like it was like starting to like get under my skin and stuff. So I called my dad up after probably like a bad day at school or a bad day at practice or whatever. I was like, meet me at the recruiter's office.
And what did he say? And
he was like,
he was a veteran as well.
My mom and dad were both in the Marine Corps.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and he's like, what? And I was like, meet me at the Marine Corps recruiter's office. I'm heading there now. And
so you're like, I'm gonna carry the boats, Dad.
Dude, he's like, you need to come home. We're gonna talk about this. And I was like, what? He goes, you need to come home. We're gonna talk about this.
What happened?
So I went home, and he's like, he like turns on the news, and back then, right, 08.
Oh, everything was on the news.
It was all on the news.
Bodies,
and,
buildings on fire.
It was popping over there.
Yeah.
He goes, this is what you want. He goes, I'm like, yeah. He goes, all right. He's like, so here's what we're going to do. He's like, I'm going to go get the shotgun. I'm going to shoot at you for about 30 minutes. You tell me if you like it. Nice. If you like it, then we'll go down to the Marine Corps recruiter's office. I was like, that sounds a little crazy. It's a little extreme. He goes, he's like, that's literally what they're doing.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
And I was like, He's like, you need to join the Air Force or you need to join the Coast Guard. And I was like, I don't really, neither one of them sound too cool though.
Yeah.
And he's like, you don't want to join the Army because every Marine is against the Army. Every Marine is against the Army. You know,
I
that's
gotta
true.
talk to your dad, dude.
He's like, you don't want to join the Army. He said, you don't want to join the Marines. He said, you don't want to join the Navy. He said, the Air Force and the Coast Guard is what you want.
You know, I will give Marines respect when it is time to give them respect.
Yeah.
And when it is time to give them respect is when you talk about their versatility. They are so well trained in the water, whereas because they're a branch of the Navy.
Yep.
So they're comfortable in water.
Not my dad. He can't swim.
Really? Nice, dude.
And he was a Marine.
But in the Army, like in the infantry, we had to cross a river once in Afghanistan, like a deep-ass, like chest-high river.
Yeah.
And we lost a dude. He didn't die, but he got swept out.
His place just weighed him down and everything. Dude.
He just went down and he coasted down like 30 feet. We were like, bro.
Oh, man.
We're not built for water.
That's brutal.
Yeah, bro.
It's like this water is supposed to be dry.
Yeah, dude.
So respect the Marines for being versatile, but everything else is just very mid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Very mid.
So when you go in to the Air Force, do they have like a specific test? Like you have
ASVAB.
ASVAB.
Yeah, so every branch has got the ASVAB. I don't know about the Coast Guard. I'd imagine they probably do too.
You score pretty high on that?
Nope. It was brutal, bro.
They didn't have any questions about baseball.
It was brutal. It was like, man, baseball's the only thing I've studied about, man. And so I took my ASVAB, and I wanted like Loadmaster. That was the job I wanted.
Loading birds and stuff.
Just loading them planes up.
Yeah.
Humvees, flying all over the
strapping
place.
it down.
Yeah.
Tight.
And then I wanted Loadmaster. I wanted Aerial Gunner.
That'd be sick too.
That would have been
Dude,
dope.
those new helmets they have where like wherever the pilot looks, the gun moves.
Yeah.
So hot.
Yeah, it's super hot, dude.
And then at the very end of my list, number 5, because for the Air Force, you pick your top 5, was security forces. And so I went and took my ASVAB, and I brought my score back, and it was not good. I'm just going to tell you that. I'm just going to tell you it wasn't
Probably
good.
better than Brian's. So
Doubt it.
I think 35 is the minimum. And I think I scored a 35 or 36.
Sweet. Yeah, that's probably the first time I've ever talked to somebody that got lower than me. I got a 56.
Did you? Nice.
I got
They got a hold of me and they were like,
we have one job for you.
I can give you a
no,
gun
it was 2. They were like, we'll let you drive a tank
or cook something.
or shoot people.
Dude. So I turned it in, and you could tell this recruiter had seen like nothing but good scores. He's like, well, I hate to break it to you. He said your score's pretty bad. He said you can retake it. I was like, dang, it's that bad. And he's like, so here's the jobs you're qualified for, and it was pretty much all of them except for Loadmaster.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want Aerial Gunner.
Yeah.
Fly around doors of helicopters.
Yeah, dude, just capping people.
You know, like the dude in Full Metal Jacket. Get some. You know?
Dude, 100%. Don't fucking do what you're about to do. Stop.
So I that was the job I was doing. I was in like the delayed enlistment program and all that stuff.
Nice.
And
Wait, delayed enlist program?
yeah, so you have to wait for your job. Like that job wasn't available.
Oh.
He's like, I'll let you know when the job's available. I was like, all right.
Also didn't have that problem because infantry guys die all the time.
yeah.
So
They're
my
like,
spot was readily
ready to
available.
go.
Yeah, they're like,
And so-
we actually need you in Afghanistan right now.
Yeah, I went in there and I did like a meeting with him. Like I had to go in like every week and like weigh in and all that stuff,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And he's like, hey, I got a job. One of your top 5 just came across my desk if you want it. And I was like, man, I'm really tired of living with my roommates, aka my parents. Yeah. I was like, I'm really tired of this. I was like, what job is it? He's like, security forces. He's like, and you get a $6,000 signing bonus if you sign up for 6 years. And I was like, man, I got like $26 right now.
Y'all gonna give me a gun?
I was like, all right, yeah, cool, give it to me. He's like, cool. He said, you leave in like 2 weeks. And I was like, oh man, all right.
Down
okay.
to Louisville. So did you go to Louisville MEPS?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that like basic training?
MEPS is just like your onboard.
Yeah, it's your military entry like processing center or something like that.
Yeah.
And then that's where you fly out of to your basic training.
So what's basic training like different from like infantry versus?
It's the same. Everybody has, well, I mean, the only thing it varies is from branch to branch. So I'm almost 100% positive that the Air Force has probably the chillest basic training.
I've heard it's pretty chill. And you call it basic training or do you call it boot camp?
Basic training.
Basic training, okay.
Yep. So it was 8.5 weeks. But if you Google what was going on in South Texas, you don't have to. I'm just saying what was going on in South Texas right now. In 2009, swine flu was pretty hot in 2009 in South
Nice,
Texas.
dude.
I remember that.
Little
It was
piggies.
all over the news.
It was all over the place. And my dad joked to me, he's like, you going to go down there.
What'd they call it? H1N1?
H1N1. Yeah. Yeah. You're looking at a survivor of that right there. I'm a survivor.
Did you get the flu?
I got it.
That's
and you
Haram.
beat it?
The
You
Haram
beat it?
flu?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Haram flu.
Dude, so I've had swine flu and COVID.
Damn, dude, you're hard to kill.
I'm a survivor, dude.
Shout out to TLC, dude.
So what do you think is like one memorable story from basic? And I can see that one.
That's
so.
easy, man. So like for me, basic it was like week 4 or 5, and I was sitting there. It was a Sunday. I was just rolling my socks, rolling my underwear,
Oh, yeah,
just
tightening
doing
up.
laundry, you know.
Yeah.
And it was pretty chill. Sundays were pretty chill. Everybody's going to services and coming back and stuff like that. So it was kind of a chill day. And I'm just sitting there, just rolling my stuff, and I just pass out. And my training instructor comes up to me and he just destroys me, just like verbally undresses
Like
me.
pass out as in like fell asleep, or pass out like I do.
Like I was like dying.
Okay.
And he like verbally just destroys me.
Accosted you.
And then he moves on with his day, right? Like not a big deal to him. And I go back doing the same thing, pass out again. And he catches me again like 5 minutes later. I have no idea how I was out. He comes back, destroys me. And I look up and I'm like, oh, bro. That's just straight up. No military bearing.
No rank.
No military bearing. Just, bro, I feel awful. And he's like, come on. And I was the guide on. So I was like,
Carrying the flag.
I was like his dude.
Ah, nice.
And we were his first flight or platoon.
Yeah.
And so I go into his office and he's like, no homo. And he puts his hand on my forehead.
Yeah.
And he goes, dude, you on fire. And I'm like, yeah, I told you I don't feel good. So we're like in his office. So
I said this already.
So it's just like a couple of dudes at this point.
Yeah.
And he gives me a piece of paper. He goes, put this in your mouth. And so it's like, dude, just like a little test strip kind of thing. And I put it in my mouth. He looks at it. And he goes, nope. And he throws it away. He goes, here's another one. These are like little paper thermometers. I'd never seen something like this in my life.
I've not either.
It was crazy. He gives me another one. He goes, all right, yeah, you're dying. And I was like, all right, cool.
Sick, dude.
I felt awful.
Dude.
So he calls down to CQ and he's like,
We got a dead
he's like,
one.
hey, I need an ambulance for a trainee right now. And they're like, all right, cool. So they call and he takes me down to CQ.
Where's this at? What base?
This is at Lackland in San Antonio.
Okay.
Yeah, big base.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
And so he takes me down there and he's like, where's the ambulance? He's like, this dude is like actively dying right now
Did they tell you your temperature?
at the hospital.
What was it?
104.
You die at 106.
Dude, I was, dude,
You die at 106.
You know how I
Get
got-
106, you're dead.
dude. So I'm sitting there. They're like, we called for an ambulance and they said it's going to be about 10, 15 minutes. He goes, I don't know if this dude's got 10, 15 minutes. And I'm just sitting there just like,
Bacon
I'm like,
in the
I'm like
Texas
19
heat.
years old. I'm like, man, this is crazy.
Hey, my vision's blurry.
So he's like, all right, let's go. He loads me up in his own truck and he takes me across the base and takes me to the hospital.
Yeah.
And so I'm just sitting there and dude, I was there for like a day and a half, 2 days.
What they say it was?
Swine flu.
Swine.
Yeah.
The pigs got you, dude.
And so they sent me to a thing called Fever Flight. And I was there with all these other sick dudes that were trying to like wash out of the military and they couldn't hack it and stuff. And
Yeah,
they were just,
sissies.
you know, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm like, man, these aren't the types of people I'm trying to be around right now.
Yeah.
You know?
I need some positive reinforcement.
You know, I'm trying to be some motivators in here. And but it was pretty cake though, because nobody wanted to get sick. So no training instructors, like they would come through, make sure it smelled clean. They wouldn't inspect nothing. They're like, yeah, cool. This is
smells
good.
like bleach, bro.
Dude, that's what we do. We would like spray the walls down with bleach and stuff. Dude, they turned me into a dirtbag real quick in there. And dude, so they sent me back to the hospital or the clinic or whatever, like 2 or 3 days later. And they gave me another shot of penicillin. Remember when you got your penicillin in your butt? And
The
basic?
peanut butter in the butt.
Peanut butter, right?
Yeah.
They gave me another one
To beat it.
to beat it. And dude, within like 12 hours, dude, I was good to go.
Really? That's wild.
Crazy.
So what happens after? Do you have any?
So what's the training process like for
Oh, yeah,
like
true.
your specific career?
I guess what would have been called like once you finish basic training, you
Yep.
go to another school.
Yeah,
to
so
learn
for
the
you
job.
guys,
What's that called?
it's AIT for y'all, right? For
Yeah.
us, it's tech school.
Okay, so what was tech school like?
So tech school, they basically just, I think I was just like 12. These either like 12 or 15 weeks or something
Lackland,
like that.
or did you go somewhere
Same
else?
place, dude. Right down the road. Same
Damn.
base. Never left anywhere. And
You can smell the swine flu in the air.
oh man, dude, everybody's walking around with like Sub-Zero masks and stuff. Dude.
Full face respirators, like they work for the CDC.
Oh man, it was crazy. But dude, yeah, we like everybody else is like taking like planes and stuff to go into like other bases and stuff. We just like hopped on like the local bus charter for the base and just chartered across the base. And like everybody's got their like rucksacks and stuff like that. We're just like hopping on the bus with all of our stuff sitting in our lap, you know.
I can only imagine now. I bet they're doing Lime scooters or something.
Oh yeah, dude. Segways.
I'm just going across the base, dude.
Oh,
so
man.
just going across the base.
I guess you got the security detail. What was it? The specific?
Yeah, so I mean, they basically you go there and they just teach you the broad range of things that like basically security forces does, and that can be anywhere from escorting airplanes to guarding garden planes.
What's escorting an airplane like? You said you never really rode in the helicopters or anything like
Yeah,
that.
I didn't
So
ride it.
like,
If
is
it
that
flew-
just like the guys at the airport with the orange
No.
things, or-
So like if like a like let's say like a C-17 or a C-5 or something like that has to go somewhere that's not 100% like secure. And this is my very limited knowledge. I didn't have planes in my base, but let's just say that they had to go somewhere that wasn't secure. Once they land,
i.e. secure. What do you mean?
like if they
like if
like
China
outside
owned
of
all
a
the
base,
farmland?
like if they were landing somewhere like a C-17 landed somewhere outside of a base.
Evansville Airport would be unsecure.
No, that'd be secure. I would say that'd be secure.
Oh.
Yeah, like I'm talking like if you're going like to like Africa,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Out of the country.
out of the country,
Okay,
that is
okay.
like a place that's
I'm following now, but it
like
please explain.
Bagram would be secure because it was such a massive.
Yeah, sorry, and I didn't mean to cut
installation.
you off. I just
Oh,
wanted
no,
to
you're-
understand.
Yeah, so basically, if you're going somewhere that is outside of the wire,
yeah,
that is in another country that would be deemed hostile. Like if you're getting hazard pay in that country,
Yeah.
and your plane's landing outside the wire, what you call Ravens, security forces Ravens or Dagger, they will basically pull up a 360 on that airplane and make sure that it's secure until it's time to take off.
and these are like fighter birds.
No, those are like C5s, C-17s, C-130s, things like that. Yeah.
Fortresses, like the
Yeah.
big old
Big-
cannon,
big boys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotcha.
And then all the way up to law enforcement, which was not my gig.
Yeah.
I did that 13 times. I rode as a cop for 13 times in 5 years.
Shout out to Asa Cox, episode 85, I believe.
Yep.
He is the only other flyboy I've ever interviewed,
Yeah.
and he was an MP. He's got some wild stories from Fort Hood. He's about our age.
Fort Hood.
That he got stationed at Fort Hood, I believe. And
Yeah.
he said it was like
Yeah.
gang violence type shit. And
Dang.
on the base,
Yeah.
people were like waving gang flags out of their barracks windows and shit.
How about that, huh? Yeah.
He said it was gnarly, dude. Remember? We
Yeah.
talked. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It was
And what's crazy, man, is that you think you're in the military. It's like, oh, these are just like a different class of people. It's like, no,
these are different breeds,
just
dude.
straight from the streets.
God bless.
Thank you. Yeah, straight from the street.
Some of these people are just straight from the streets.
So you get out of
Swear to
your,
God.
you get out of like your technical school.
Yep.
And then what's next?
And then I
after
went
that?
straight to Malmstrom and never left.
So what?
Straight to where?
Malmstrom in Montana.
Oh, Montana.
Yeah, that was my base. It's right outside Great Falls.
Real small.
And what's like daily
Real
life
small.
there?
It's basically like an outpost.
Yeah.
Like if you think
100 people?
No. So there was about 7,000 people at the base.
Okay.
About 5,000 of them were cops.
Eek.
Yeah.
Just
and so-
patrolling?
no. Working missile fields out for all the nukes and
But
stuff.
do they not?
Which is, I want to mention too. So like Crane's not too far away from where we're recording, and they have some nukes there.
Yeah,
And
it's Navy,
I
right?
delivered some municipal supplies back when I worked for like a municipal supply delivery company when they were
Right.
doing some expansion stuff there.
Yep.
And like they got bunkers with like grass over the top.
Yeah,
and
those are called
everything.
igloos.
They got little signs that say like, "Hey, snipers!" Like that's all it says. It's like, "Yo, watch out for snipers."
Yeah, designated marksmen.
And like I pull in or whatever, and I like this guy, my contractor that I met up with when I got there. He's like, "Follow me to the spot."
Yep.
And we get there, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna need a fork truck to unload you. I'll be right back." And there's like a sign that just says "sniper."
Yeah.
like, you know, and I'm here alone in the middle of this base, and I'm like, I gotta pee.
no sudden-
I gotta
no sudden
like, you
movements.
know.
Yeah. Do I not pull my dick out right
But
now? Like, what's going to happen?
What
if
was
I do?
interesting was while I was there, there was another contractor group working on one of these bunkers. You know,
Yep.
they'd emptied it out or whatever.
Yep.
And they were putting like handrails on the stairs or some shit. And one of the guys turned and bumped one of the doors.
Yeah.
And like a whole helicopter flew to that area or whatever. So
Yeah.
like these areas are like extremely secure.
It's crazy. The amount of alarms and stuff that you have on these is just absolutely wild.
Now-
It's crazy.
And speaking of, if we're telling personal stories, I have one. So I was stationed at Fort Bliss, Texas. As you know, there's an airfield attached to Fort Bliss. Cannot remember the name of it. Big ass. It's a huge base because you have Fort Bliss, and then attached to it is a whole nother base. I think there was like 70,000 people on this installation.
Yeah.
It's like a city within itself.
Yeah,
And El
it's nuts.
Paso is like a huge city as well.
Yep.
So you've
so
got-
you're at West Texas.
Yeah, west, like as far
Gross.
west as you can go.
Gross.
So El Paso, yeah, super gross. But it touches New Mexico.
Yeah.
And we would go into New Mexico to party all the time, but we would be partying out in the desert and stuff, just doing illegal activities. And you'd get out in the desert and see these like big, like at sunset, you'd see them, and there'd be these big, like fenced off areas, but all you really see is a fence.
Yep.
And we see them all the time. There's multiples of them all throughout the desert. And then sometimes you would see like black SUVs like rolling around these fenced off areas, like plural, multiple, like lines of SUVs, like doing figure eights.
So would those be like the MPs that you were talking about on the base? Or
no, so for us, so there was 2 different sides, or I guess 3 sides. So that you either worked missile field, you either worked law enforcement on base,
checking
or you
IDs
worked, checking IDs,
arresting people,
pulling people over for speeding and stuff, or you worked the weapon storage area. Weapon storage area was pretty much my forte. I did work the gate, for a couple years until I got decertified.
I heard a funny story about a gate where somebody showed their military ID, but they showed it upside down. Yeah. And they you have to be like, is everything all right, sir? Like if there's anything like out of the ordinary.
Yeah, that's pretty much just a board gate guard. It's just a board gate guard. I mean, we would screw with people coming through there all the time. Like if you ask for directions, you best believe I'm not going to send you in the right direction.
I'm going to send you to like...
I'm going to give you a tour of this place before you get to where you got to go.
We had a military guy on that had like a crazy bumper sticker, and they were like, you got to take that off. You remember
that was
story?
Asa.
Was it Asa?
It was Asa. He had this fucking Toyota Tacoma, actually.
Yeah.
Desert matte gray desert coyote painted. Like,
regular Posey County spray paint job.
it was a single cab Toyota Tacoma, jacked up on like a 12-inch lift.
Okay.
He had American flag on banisters going out the back, and he had stickers all over the windshield. And what was the sticker on the back? It was something. It was something like "Don't fuck with my freedom, and I won't fuck with you" or something. Just all American.
Pretty aggressive.
Yeah, it's very aggressive. This is pre-mullet, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, and he goes to the gate to his base that he's getting stationed at for the first time. They were like, no.
Yeah.
You are not driving around with "Don't fuck with my freedom."
Yeah.
And I won't fuck with you
there was
your car.
There was
or
like,
whatever it
I
said.
Can
It
think
was
of
something
one
wild.
guy that had he had like 2 rebel flags stickers on the back of his truck, and he was from I want to say he was from like Alabama.
I thought you were going to say Posey County.
Cool dude, really cool dude, and his truck got sent in like a base wide email saying like, you need to find out who this is, and if he comes through the gate, he needs to remove him. Like, well, the guy. I was like, man, I know whose truck it is, and he was black.
Oh yeah,
and it was like, I'm not going to tell a black guy to take down his own Confederate flag stickers. Yeah, and this dude was country. Yeah, and I told him whenever he ended up coming through the gate, I said, "Hey, just so you know,
they're looking for you."
I was like, somebody's coming after you for these stickers on your truck.
These fetties, dude.
And he's like, don't care. I said, I know you don't. I said, you have a good one, brother. And he's like, all right, man, I'll catch you later.
So I want to make a little pitch here. So like the common person, me.
Yeah.
When we think nuke, we think of like World War II, the big old takes the whole cab of the airplane or whatever they pushed it out of.
Yeah.
Big boy and little boy.
Right.
So like, but like the first time.
Fat man.
Yeah, fat man and little boy. So like did you have that mental picture in your head when you went to base?
Yeah, I guess I did. So you see these things getting moved around a lot. Like a lot. We did a lot of work with the Department of Energy. They would come grab nukes and stuff for like testing and stuff like that. Just for like their launch capabilities and stuff. But whenever you first see one, you're like, man, that's it. You're like, that is pretty crazy.
You said we could fit like 10 in this room.
I'm serious. You could probably fit I'd say like 8 or 10 of them in this room. They're small.
Okay. And one common misconception is that so Fat Man and Little Boy, these guys that we dropped, those are literally less than first gen. Those were like the
prototypes, dude.
Those were like the 8th and 9th nuclear weapons that we had ever made.
Yeah.
It was literally, if you compare it to like common terms that any American will understand, it's like that's like the VHS.
Like the iOS beta.
God bless you. And it's on the microphone. Way to go. God bless. That's hot for me. No, but it's like the VHS of nuclear bombs. They were fucking huge.
Yeah.
They were so much larger than they needed to be. All the timers and sequencers and all the wires and shit and all this rudimentary technology they had on there to just make sure that it would airburst, because they were airbursts.
Yep.
Just to make sure that it blew up at the right time, at the right altitude to do the most damage. Well, now they've got it condensed down with super microchips.
It's crazy.
What's crazy though is some of these like fall out of airplanes and don't go off, and they find them in the middle of fields.
I bet one nuke is probably diameter.
I'd say that's about right.
Yeah.
That's about right.
So you can get 10 of these in one ICBM. That's how, because the ICBMs are fucking huge.
It's really crazy, man. And I remember because they worked on them inside the weapon storage area, which is where I worked.
No.
What? No, that's where they worked on them.
No. Are you fucking shitting me?
No, I'm being dead serious.
What?
Yeah, so
They're just like working on nukes, and you're like,
yeah,
throwing a dip in.
100%. Just a bunch of dudes in there just working on nukes.
Are they like
all the time.
lab coats or?
No. These dudes they were in ABUs at the time, OCPs now, multicam.
Just diesel technicians working on a nuke.
Dude, they just look like regular old dudes.
Well, and America has a bunch of nukes that are about to expire technically. So, like, what did you ever see any nukes that were like past the expiration date?
So, if that happened, I would imagine that's probably when the Department of Energy would come and they would take them to Vandenberg Air Force Base in Southern California. That's where they do a lot of their. That's where they do like a lot of their launch capability testing and stuff like that.
So they'll launch it, you think?
I don't think they'll launch the nuke.
I wonder if in the future, because with AI driven, they're working on nuclear reactors because the energy demand in our future time is going to be so high.
Yeah.
I mean, you already have in California, we're like, hey, don't charge your electric vehicles during the summer. So, like, you're going to get those. But I wonder if they don't take some of that recycled nuclear grade material, plutonium, whatever it may be, uranium.
Tritium.
Is it tritium?
Tritium's a real big thing for them out there.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll recycle that into, nuclear cores for the reactors.
Yeah. Basically, man, it's you got the entry control fire team with like your alarm monitors or your mobile SARTs.
Are we allowed to talk about this, or do I need to mute any of this?
This is a decade ago. Last time I was there, man, there was a lot more posts. Just from what I could see, there's a lot more posts.
I feel like this episode's going to attract some attention.
Man.
Dude, Biden's going to fucking call me tomorrow.
I don't know about that, but I mean,
he forgot how his phone works.
It was last time I was there. And I was kind of at an area where I could like view it. I was like, man, it looks so different.
Did you get to watch any test?
Oh, like nuclear tests?
Yeah.
Oh, and I don't know how they do that kind of stuff, but no, they don't do that stuff in Montana.
Oh,
no, they don't.
Well, there's only like 500 people that live in the entire state, so you would figure if they would do it anywhere.
There's two or three times as many cows as there are people in Montana.
Yeah, it's wild, bro.
India.
Yeah, it's wild, huh?
Sounds like India.
Man, it's
wild.
It's awesome at Barron, but I mean. The base not as awesome.
Wyoming's the same way. Wyoming, same way.
So you got
North Dakota, South Dakota. It's just like flat. I mean, not necessarily flat, but like there's like nobody out there.
Yeah, it's
like a million people.
It's a perfect place
state.
So Nebraska is also Minuteman nuke stuff, but Offutt Air Force Base has. For bombers, so nukes for bomb.
Where is Offutt at? Because
Nebraska.
They talk about that in that
book.
It's in Nebraska.
Well, I was going to say, do they call them Minutemen because you have a minute to react, like a minute to decide?
I guess
they were.
It's 60 seconds to launch.
60, yeah.
60 seconds to launch. So if a nuke comes our way, all they have to do is the president has to give. He has a football that he carries, and in the football there are codes. And they scramble. So when he opens the football, when he knows there's attack or he wants to attack, he will literally have his guy open the football. He gives the code via whatever telecommunication to the people at Offutt, and then Offutt says, "Okay, roger that." They run down to their silo. They have keys, and there's plural. There's 2 guys per missile, I think. They both have keys, a lot like in the submarines. They put them in at the same time, twist them at the same time, put in the same code. 60 seconds from both of them hitting launch, that missile will be out of the tube.
There's so many misreading schedules. Like that guy that saved the world. Did you ever hear that story?
Russian fellow, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Did you hear about this guy?
Yep.
Can you look his name up so we don't sound like a bunch of assholes? But no, there was this guy, and she mentions him in that book. It was the man who saved the world. So essentially, the clouds with... So Russia's... they have satellites up top that can tell, hey, people are launching nukes, just like America does. However, our satellites are way more sophisticated and have been for a long time during the Cold War. Well, theirs being less sophisticated, they saw these certain kind of clouds in the stratosphere, and they cued their satellite to say, there are 1,000 nuclear warheads headed your way right now from the direction of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guys that we were just talking about with the keys and the launch codes, those guys were like waiting for the code,
Yeah.
like on standby with their keys in hand, ready to go.
Yeah.
And then this fucking guy, Stanislav Petrov, is the man who saved the world. He was the one who received the early warning at the whatever display interface where he was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And he just stood there and he said something, and I'm sure it says it in here, something along the lines of, I had a gut feeling. And he did this entirely off of a gut feeling. He said something didn't feel right, so I waited.
Thanks.
And he just waited.
Well, they had a similar thing in Hawaii that you hear Jim Carrey talk about.
Yeah, I was saying that, like, because the whole state of Hawaii got a text message saying that they were
Not too long ago.
That was like, it was like 4 or 5 years ago.
It was like 2019, 2018, 2017, something like that. I vaguely remember that. They were like nuclear attack, nuclear attack, nuclear attack.
Yeah.
And what was that? Just a bug?
I think it was just like, it was supposed to be like a test of their preparedness system or something like that. But I don't.
And also all the pacemakers that are
2018.
operating.
Yeah, 18. Yeah.
They want to make sure everybody's blood pressure was okay. I mean, I don't feel like you should fuck around with that shit. You need to make it nationally known that we're conducting a test.
Hey, we're doing a test. Everybody just calm down.
Everybody don't fucking panic and buy all the milk. It's crazy, dude. I don't know, man. Nukes are wild, dude. So you have very little experience other than like seeing the nukes, like with hands-on.
Oh, yeah. I didn't. Yeah. My job was just to guard them, man.
Oh, yeah.
My job was just to guard them. Like, I would sit in a Humvee for 12, 14, 16 hours a day. Just sit there. And unless I was in the fire team building, that was pretty chill.
Pretty tight.
But
What are you doing there in the fire team building?
just hang out.
Are there cameras that you're having to watch?
The alarm monitors got cameras and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the fire team's just kind of hanging.
Have you ever been like at a silo?
Oh, yeah. So
What is that like? Did you get to go in it, or are you just looking at it from the
no,
top?
no. Security forces doesn't go in it. We just kind of stay on top.
So you don't do any internal checks or
I
like
do nothing with the nukes.
Really?
Yeah, we don't do anything with them. Basically, our job was to provide on top security, and then the missileers, the maintainers, they're the ones that go down and they'll
checking stuff
Yeah,
down
So
there.
you're just like checking badges for people to go into the building?
No. So, for the weapon storage area, their job is to make sure that everybody that enters the weapon storage area is kosher and they're supposed to be in there. Now, out at a missile site or a LF launch facility, those guys are just out there providing security for the missileers.
Do you ever? That brings up a good question. You said launch facility, then followed immediately by LF. Do you ever get fucking tired of all the acronyms in the military?
As long as you learn them, I guess it's really not a big deal.
It bothers me.
There's so many.
I know.
There's so many.
So for me, it was weapon systems.
Mm-hmm.
So like I had so much experience with all these super high tech weapons, and they all had a fucking acronym.
Yep.
Followed by a numerical nomenclature or whatever. And you're like, yeah, this is the 14 gen ICLBLG blah blah blah.
Right.
I'm like,
yeah. So pretty much, if you were out there with the LF and stuff like that,
yeah,
it wasn't a big deal because you were just armed up with an M4, so you're just kind of hanging out,
just chilling.
But it was you and like 3 other guys.
Nice.
And your day could really be made or broken by the missileer team that you're going out there with. Like,
Why
if
do you say that?
If you went out there with civilians, dude, they didn't care about nothing. They're like, man, I don't care about fixing this stuff. I'm just going to replace it. It's like, sweet. So we'll be home
Sick.
pretty soon.
I'm getting dinner tonight.
Or if you went out there with somebody that didn't know what they were doing, I went out there to the closest launch facility one day, and I was like, what kind of day are we going to have, dude? He's like, I got to replace this fuse. I was like, that's it. He goes, that's it. I was like, dude.
20 hours later.
Dude, it was the longest day I've had. Dude, and it was the closest place. It was the closest site. We went out there.
Oh, bro.
I was like, man, it's gonna be a chill day. Yeah. And he goes down in the hatch. He's down there doing his thing. He comes back up and he throws his cover in the truck and he starts screaming and stuff. I was like, what's going on, dude? And he goes, I put that fuse in. I was like, yeah. He goes, then another one blew. I said, you didn't bring like another?
Bring like a backup.
He's like, I brought what I needed for this job. I said, well, that's not very like preparedness of you.
Where's your fucking contingency plan, bro?
I was like, what are you doing? He's like, so now I got to call base. I said, this is the weekend. And he goes, I know. I was like, all right, well, he said, so he calls out there, he calls on the radio, and they're like, yep, they're going to let us know. Dude, it was like they forgot about us. That's how, dude, we were out there for so long. I was like, maybe you should call him again.
Yeah, that's like one thing that sucks too. Is you mentioned like you sent us some photos that I'll pull up real fast, but like you mentioned like these are like 5 photos because you weren't allowed to have like your phone or anything.
Can't have your phone.
So like those days, you're just like twiddling your thumbs, like you mentioned, rolling socks.
That was the day I got promoted. That was a rough day. That was one of my boys.
To the axle, dude.
Yeah,
he really didn't let up.
Dude, so man, he really went after. He's like, dude, I'm in my AO, man. I'm allowed to go out here. I'm like, yeah, but this like muddy.
It's bad,
dude. Oh, dude, it was out there for like a month. It was out there for dude.
What?
Yeah, I mean that's on base. That was.
They still didn't just like go get it.
They were like, we got 12 more.
It was out there for so long because it was so wet. It was so wet. That was right outside the 203 range, and they
yeah, there's a berm in the background.
It was so wet that they were like, well. This is now in our pass-ons. The Humvee's still stuck out there.
What does that mean, pass-ons?
So, like, every day at changeover and stuff, you'd have to do pass-ons for, like for your changeover. It's like, all right, here's what's going on inside your area of responsibility. These are the things you need to know about. And that was it, man.
Who are these two gents? That's not you,
That's me on the right, dog.
That is not you.
Yeah, man.
That is not you.
19-year-old me.
I can't even tell that's you.
Yeah, that's me, man. Way back in the day.
You a 249 fan?
I'm not a 249 fan.
I'll tell you what.
I'm a 240 guy.
I'll tell you what. 240's tight.
Yeah.
Rate of fire could be better.
It could.
The 249,
yeah.
You sneeze and you just shit out 200 rounds.
But here's the thing. So for our 249s, we had to have, this was in tech school.
Yeah.
I don't even remember that dude's on the left's name.
That's not the guy with the rebel flags.
No. But for us, our 249s, our bandoliers were plastic. And so they would slide in that little clip on the bottom side of your 249s.
Yeah.
And that was your bandolier of 200 rounds.
Lame.
And we would have to go through turnstiles to get into the weapon storage area.
Oh, you're just snapping them off.
And it would snap off. And
yep.
It's like 200
rounds.
All 200 rounds. And so you're just like...
Yeah, we call those, in Afghanistan, we called those nut sacks. Mm-hmm. And we had all steel. You couldn't snap it off if you wanted to.
Man,
I want to know the story behind that.
Yeah, you got a dead... Is this that's a dead doe.
It's a dead deer, man. Dead doe. So...
What happened dead doe here?
So...
Jane Doe.
This is one of the days I was on patrol. Mm-hmm. One of like the 13 times that I got to ride patrol. It was me and another staff sergeant. And
are you outside?
This is just
the
outside
fence line of the base.
This is on base property outside the fence line.
Okay.
And we got a call from some dependent that was complaining about a foul smell. And she said
on the base, yeah.
Yeah, she's like, I don't know if there's somebody dead out here or what, but there's something that's like really, really bad.
Oh, nice.
And so the dispatcher was my supervisor. And so we went out there to where this was, and we're like, well, I smell it.
Yeah, she's bloated. You can tell she's got probably a bunch of flies and maggots in her.
And I was like, well, I can smell it, but I don't see anything. And so we're like, all right, we're going to go off base for a second. So we just kind of went off base, but still on base property.
Yeah, doing a perimeter check.
And so I radioed to my supervisor. I was like, hey, we found it. He's like, what is it? I was like, I'll just send you a picture. That's what I said about it.
Saw it.
There it is, dude.
What did he say?
He's
Stop
like,
being a fucking idiot.
He's like, all right, I'll put that in the blotter. Dead deer outside Loy Elementary. I was like, yep.
And it looks like here somebody got shitted on.
Yeah, that's me, dude.
You got shitted on?
Yeah. So
is that poo?
Yeah. So no, it's not.
Oh, thank God.
It's not. So that was outside the weapon storage area.
Okay.
And whenever you are leaving or going to a different unit or something like that, they do a basically like a protester exercise, and they'll say that you went rogue or whatever like that, and that you have to basically like evade. And it gives everybody like a little bit of real world experience. Like let's say like a protester broke through here, like a Just Stop Oil kind of protester.
Yeah.
And they basically like they'll chase you down, they'll handcuff you, and then depending on how much they like you or how much they're going to miss you, they'll ruin everything that you have on. So for about like your last week, you're like, all right, I'm gonna start wearing my crappy uniform to work. You know, it's like because these things are expensive.
I'm leaving my phone at home.
Dude, well, I wasn't allowed to have my phone.
Yeah.
And
So daily, you're not allowed to have your phone at work.
As soon as I enter the armory, I got to put my phone in my truck.
No way.
Yeah.
That is
So
wild.
basically, they would start making like a really nasty concoction of like chocolate syrup, maple syrup, milk, and they would just leave it like on the roof, and it would just spoil. And it's disgusting. Mustard, ketchup. I mean, if it's a liquid form, condiment or something like that, dude, they'll put it in this concoction and then they'll just dump it on you.
This just made me think of this.
Can I get some juice?
I need a napkin.
Oh man.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah. Dude. The best people I've ever been with in my life, man.
You can't trust a grunt, dude. You can't trust, especially airborne, dude. There's some wild boys.
The best people you'll ever be around.
You ever meet any? You ever have the opportunity to meet an operator?
Yeah. One time I was at the BX, and
That's like the PX.
yeah. So for us, it's base exchange, and we had just got this really nice new base exchange. The one we had before that was just. It was like from when they built the base from like the 60s, 50s.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in a barber chair and I saw, so in the Air Force, you have what's called a function badge. And every job has a function badge. And to someone that doesn't know, you'd be like, oh, those are jump wings. But it's just a function badge. Like Bass saw a picture of mine. He's like, well, dude, you're airborne? And I was like, no, I'm a cop. And
Immediately lose respect for you.
I saw a dude. He was sitting in a barber chair and he'd just taken his blouse off. And I was like,
EJ?
I was like, bro, are you CCT?
Oh, he's CCT.
Yeah. He's like, yeah. I was like, what are you doing here? Because they weren't there. They weren't
Probably
there.
just stopping through.
He goes, oh, I'm doing training in Helena. And
Where the fuck is Helena?
Helena was like,
Thank
so
you.
every city in Montana is separated by like minimum 2 hours, 3 hours.
No way.
Everywhere.
Wild.
Like if you want to go to Billings, like let's say you wanted to go to Cracker Barrel,
yeah.
because I've done that. It's 4 hours away.
The old people are pulling over to take a nap on their way to and from.
Man, because they don't have sweet tea in Montana.
What?
They don't have sweet tea in Montana. Like at least whenever I was up there, I was like, man, I really want some sweet tea, and I would go there and be like, have some sweet tea, and be like, oh, we got raspberry tea. And I'm like, never mind.
Fuck.
I ask for raspberry tea?
No, dude. So that's what you would have to do. Be like, hey, let's go to Billings. So that's what you have
So,
to do.
what was it like when you finally are done with your, what'd you say, 5 years, 4 months, 3 days? What's the getting out process like for you?
Is it called A-capping for you?
No, for us it was
We call it A-capping when you're getting out of service.
man.
And it stands for something, but again, I fucking hate
I don't
the
remember what
acronyms.
ours is called. But yeah, no, it had an acronym.
Yeah.
But it was sweet.
You enjoyed the process of getting out?
I didn't have to fire anymore. I didn't have to put on a vest anymore. I wore a vest every day for 5 years.
Ugh. Yeah.
I wore a helmet every day for 5 years, except for whenever I worked confinement.
Yeah.
That was the only time I didn't have to. I didn't have to carry a firearm anymore. I was working like everybody else on base. I would go in at 8:30, 8 o'clock, whatever.
Yeah.
I would go to lunch for an hour. I was like, man, if I could have done this the whole time I was in the Air Force, I was like, there's no way I'd get out. And then I would be done with the day by like 4. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And I actually got out under the Obama Force Reduction Act.
Yeah.
Whenever he was like rolling back the military force.
Yeah.
So at first it was kicking out people. It's like, all right, you got paperwork. You're kicked out. You're kicked out.
Your
like,
tattoos are no longer acceptable. You're kicked out.
whatever,
Yeah,
you know.
I remember that.
And so the last wave.
This is what year when you're getting out?
2014.
Okay.
Yeah. The last wave was basically volunteers. And I was sitting at work one night. I was a corrections officer. I was like working in confinement. And I was like, man, I'm done with this. And I was sitting there just messing around on the computer. And I was like, I wonder what this link takes me to. And it's like, do you want to get out? And I was like, yep. I sure do. And I didn't talk with anybody. I blindsided all of my leadership. They were furious. And
Really?
they were like, why didn't you tell me you wanted to get out? And I was like, I kind of thought it was kind of obvious by my body language.
I'm not real pumped to be out here.
I was like, this is not exactly a good time.
No, I get it, dude. So you had signed up for 6, but
Signed
you
up for
did
6.
5 and change.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
And you got out in 2014.
Yep.
What was the return to civilian life like?
Rough. It was rough because every day that I was at work or every day that I was off, I had my boys with me.
Yeah.
Every day.
Every minute.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was nuts. Even if I had a 12-hour shift at work, that's an hour and a half of getting posting vehicles, arming up, briefings for the day, going to work, turning in, debrief. I was with my boys like 16 to 18 hours a day if I was working. And if I was off, we were hunting or fishing or golfing or something like that.
Were you married in service?
We got married in 2013, so I lasted like a
Right at
year,
the end.
year and a half, yeah.
And shout out to your wife, Mary Ellen.
Yep.
Great
Yep.
lady.
Yep.
Great lady. No, but that's interesting. They say you miss the camaraderie, right?
Yeah.
Like the camaraderie is the thing that people miss, but I don't think it's that. It is like you're
You
saying.
don't miss drag racing?
I do. Greatly. No, but I think it is the fact that they are always there.
Dude, it is
So like you were single for most of your time. So you're living in the barracks.
yeah, until I hit E4 and then I could move out.
So from E1 to E4, you're living in the barracks.
Yep.
Like every waking moment,
Dude,
pure chaos. You're just with your boys.
it's a whole building of just your dudes.
Yeah, and the infantry's wild. So it's like chaos. It's just like bro time all the time.
Every day.
Yeah.
And it's like, and for us, like I was a shift worker.
And you learn to love it.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I've worked shift work since I was 19. Still do it.
Yeah.
23 more years and then I can retire.
Hell yeah.
But dude, I'm telling you, I got out and it was like full on depression.
Yeah, it is.
I was like, man, I got to go back in. I made a mistake. And I felt that way up until probably like 5 or 6 years ago.
I feel that way still today.
I think about it all the time.
Me too.
And I'm just like my buddy, he just got, he's in Colorado Springs right now and he just got orders to another nuke base.
I have
And I was like, nah, I'm not going to miss it.
I tell people this, man. Like my time in Afghanistan was so trash.
Yeah.
Literally living like a homeless person.
Right.
But like doing my job.
Yeah.
And like fucking toting, kicking, fucking dropping bombs.
Yeah.
Gun runs,
Well, what
A-10s.
state? Like what state of being homeless? Like homeless in California?
Homeless,
Probably not so
I'm
much.
drying a 2-week-old fucking chew of Red Man over a shit fire.
So like homeless in the Midwest.
Yeah.
So you can smoke it?
Yeah.
Dry it so you can smoke it?
Yeah. I did this on a mountain in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
This is a real story. So anyways, I tell people this about my time and why I miss it and what I think about when it registers in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about like the good times when we got the bad guy and I'm like, God damn, I'll never be that cool again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just never feel that fucking blood rush. Like, that's what it is
never
for
felt
me.
that cool.
That's what it is for me.
Yeah.
I think about like, maybe I'll apply to the fucking ISP this year. And I think about
Right.
it all the time, dude.
But like for me,
it's a real
like,
bummer.
Like with this ammo cam.
Oh, we were going to talk about it.
Right.
I'm so glad you brought it.
No.
We're almost at an hour, or
No.
we are at an hour.
So real quick about the ammo cam, like this is the kind of crap that made me want to get out, dude. Is I was posting out to our external SART and they have a can of smokes
yeah.
and I lost
203s or
hand smokes.
hand smokes.
Yeah, for our 203s we had White Star parachutes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And 18 rounds of 40 mic.
Okay.
And so that was just a can of regular old smokes,
Yeah.
and I lost them.
Nice.
I lost the whole can. I went through the entire post, never had them, didn't even realize I lost them. And then I went to turn in. They're like, "Where are your smokes at?" I was like, "Oh man, I know exactly where I left them." I didn't.
Yeah.
And then I went down. I went down there and I was like, "Hey, where's this ammo can at?" And they're like, "It's not here." And I tore that Humvee apart looking for it. Gone.
You think somebody fucked you?
And I was like, "Man," I was like, "Where's that posting vehicle at?" Because a pickup truck takes us down there. And I was like, "Oh, it's got to be in the back of that pickup truck." No one in the entire base knew where this pickup truck was. And I remember the license plate number because I was the one that checked it out. And I was like, "I need to know where 99 Lima something or other is." And they're like, "Yeah, I don't know where it is." And I'm like, "This is y'all's truck. They're like, yeah, and they were your smokes. And I was like, yeah, touche. All right, yeah, touche.
They're
How much
playing a
money?
game now.
How much money do you think's in a can of smokes?
Oh man,
know.
I don't
One
know.
smoke is maybe $100.
It wasn't really a money thing. It was an NJP that they were threatening me with. So it was
Explain NJP, what's that?
non-judicial punishment. Basically, like they were gonna like take a stripe.
So one thing that the military is really good about doing is accountability.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that you walk out the door with 9 things, and then 19 hours later, you come back with all said 9 things, or at least expenditures thereof.
Or an extra thing. Maybe find something while you're out there.
Yeah,
Interest to cruise.
Yeah, you bring in a young Vietnamese lady, and they're like, "Where'd she come from?" I don't know. I found her, and then you'll get promoted probably.
So I found the can of smokes. I found it was at Motor T, and they were working on the truck, and the can of smokes was in the back. And I was like, no harm, no foul, right?
Yeah, no.
No.
Yeah,
So
no.
my XO,
Foul for sure.
My XO was our acting commander.
Yeah.
And he's like, I know the perfect punishment for you. He said, you're not going to get in any paperwork. You're not going to lose any stripes. And I was like, keep talking. He said, and he plops this green ammo can in front of me.
Yeah.
He goes, this is yours. I said, what do you mean? He goes, I want you to decorate this. And if you're in uniform, it needs to be with you. I went to flight and squadron PT with it. I went everywhere. Dude, I got to the point where I eventually just put it in my backpack and just carried my backpack everywhere I went. I carried this can with me every day for like 6 or 7 months until we got a new commander. It was so notorious throughout the entire base about my ammo can because I had to decorate it and everything.
Yeah.
And I eventually just used it as a lunchbox until
Why wouldn't you?
until he
At this point.
until he found out I was using it as a lunchbox, and then he's like, "No, I want you to put rocks in it." He said it needs to simulate the weight of smoke grenades.
God.
And I was like, cool.
Damn it.
So I just dumped right in front of him. I just dumped out my food and stuff, and I just put like a bunch of cement rocks and stuff from the back. And it was so notorious throughout the entire base about me and my ammo can. Yeah, I asked all my boys. I said, should I bring this ammo can on there? They're like, I don't know how you can tell your story without it. And so our new commander came to the base, and he came through, and I like rendered like my customs and courtesies and stuff, and I offered him a post brief, and he's like, Barron. And he pulls his car off to the side. I was like, how does this dude who's been here for 10 seconds know my name? And he comes up and he goes, I've heard about you. I was like, what have you heard? He goes, I heard you like to play softball.
Yeah.
And I heard you got a pretty sweet ammo can. And I was like, he's like, I want to see it. He's like, you have it? I said, you know I do. He said, let me see it. And he was prior Ranger.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he went green to blue.
Shout out to all my Rangers, dude.
He's a cool dude. And he said, did you learn your lesson? I said, yes. He goes, do you wish you would have got paperwork? I said, absolutely. He said, you tired of carrying it? I said, yeah. He goes, today's your last day. I was like, my man.
My boy, dude.
Yeah.
My boy.
Brutal.
That
Yeah.
sucks, dude.
Yeah.
So 4 months, man.
It's like
Or
6.
6
It's like
months.
6.
So bringing this in today, did you have a little bit of nostalgia, maybe like creep into your penis while you were?
I still hate it, dude. Still
a little
hate
bit of
it.
a tingle.
Dude, yeah. I hate it, man.
You did a horrible job of decorating it, by the way.
Yeah, that was about as much motivation as I could put into my punishment.
It says waiting for the bus.
First day of school.
Then it says, oh boy, yeah, first day of school. Excuse me, Flo.
off Dumb and Dumber. You know?
Big Blue.
What's this
dude.
up top, dude? We got future all-star.
Yeah, dude. Oh yeah, man. I basically took like baby announcement stickers and put it on there.
Yeah, dude.
Dude.
So
Yeah.
hopefully you
Brutal.
guys are getting a good look at this, man. That's
Yeah.
that's a win, dude.
Dude.
Honestly, I would take that over
Over NJP.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
100%.
And then like my flight chief came up to me.
first day of school.
My flight chief came up to me. He goes, I was complaining to him. I was like, dude, I'm tired of this can, dude. He goes, well, would you rather have lost a stripe? I said, here's the thing. I said, Obama just started those rollbacks. I said, if I would have lost a stripe, I would have been kicked out and I wouldn't have to deal with any of this right now.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, that's true. He said, so you'd rather be kicked out? I said, yes.
That's a win-win, dude.
That's
a win-win, dude.
I'm done with this place.
I don't think I ever had to do anything silly like that, but in the Army, we're very blessed worst in that they zip tie everything to your body, to your person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like if I had an ammo can I was not allowed to lose, they would just zip tie it to my leg or my ankle or something.
Brutal.
Yeah. So
So
but
yeah,
you
like-
agree though, like the military, they're very good about accountability.
Oh, dude, it's wild, man.
That's like the number one thing you learn is it's like being on time and accountability in general.
and if you're not accountable, then they'll kick you out.
Yeah, they do not fucking want
That's
you.
one good point I like to make in these military episodes is like there's some skills that you learn that you take into everyday civilian life that like probably set you above the pack. What do you think some of the biggest ones were that like lessons that
I have a good mention on this after you answer.
Yeah, I think, like, what do I think the military instills on everybody that has gotten out from it?
Yeah.
I think loyalty. I think loyalty is huge for everybody that has served, at least the people that I served with. It's like, those are your boys, and you don't throw them under the bus for anything.
Yeah.
Like, ride or die for your boys.
Yeah.
And then I think discipline, as far as, or like punctuality. Like, if you have to be somewhere at a certain time, you better be 15 minutes early.
Minimum.
You know?
Minimum.
Like, dude, there's so many times my wife's finally starting to just like accept it.
Yeah.
But it's like we have to be somewhere at like 1 o'clock. It's like we might be there at 12:15.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that's a big thing, because that's a respect thing, right? It's like, if you want me here at this time, my time's not more important than yours.
Yeah. So I'm
gonna make sure that you're not waiting on me.
on the money.
You know what I mean? I think that's punctuality, respect, loyalty. Those are my things.
And actually the Army has an acronym that they teach you like day one, and it's leadership. It's LDRSHIP, and the first one is loyalty.
Yep.
And I've actually already forgotten my point that I was going to make. What was your question again? How did you word
just
it?
like takeaway habits that the
I
military
remember.
teaches you, like routine. You guys have just like a major routine in the military that like civilian life doesn't necessarily
I think
have.
routine's the wrong word, but yeah, it's like routine would be the word that you would choose. For me, it would be, I don't know. I know what you're saying though. It's like a practical A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like
something that you do on a daily basis
in
that
order.
you take from your time in the military.
But the one point I was going to make, one takeaway that I took that I saw in real life, I got recently promoted to this position that I'm in now. I say recently, it was like 3 years ago, but I had a couple of direct reports or people that like reported to me.
Right.
And one of them just couldn't be on time to save his life.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yep.
Every day, 5 minutes, one day, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I'm like, all right, so I got to sit down and talk to this cat.
Yep.
So I sit down and I talk to him. I'm like, hey, brother, I haven't written you up yet, but we're getting close. Like,
Right.
do I need to change your end time to like not 7, but maybe 8? And then you can make it on time? And he was like, yeah, I think that would help. So I make it his end time, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
5 minutes late, 10 minutes, 30, 45 minutes late. It's like ingrained.
Some people
the way
just-
that it is for us, it's ingrained in him to just be like, well, you're on my time. That's
Right.
how he thinks.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So then eventually my boss notices and she says something to me and she's like, what's he doing? And I was like, listen, I've talked to him. I've done everything I can but write him up.
Right.
Well, and long story short, he does something else later down the road about not time wise. He does like a huge screw up or something and gets in trouble. And I have a sit down with him again. I'm like, hey, you're in trouble. Here's what's going on. And he was like, all right, cool. And he was like, so what do I sign? And I was like, no, you're not going to sign anything. I failed you because I did not give you the proper guidance on how to conduct this certain thing.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, what are you going to say to... It's like, I'm going to tell her the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So then I went to, I shouldn't have said her name, bleep that out. I'm going to tell her the exact same thing. And then I go to her and then I say, hey, we made this screw up. And she was like, yeah, I heard about it. So what are you doing with him? And I was like, this was my fault. So I essentially took the write up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it was like, it sucked.
Yeah.
It looked bad for me.
Yep.
But him and I had a conversation later and I was like, hey, do you realize the amount of respect I just gave you?
Yep.
Show the fuck up on time, please.
Yeah. Please reciprocate.
Yeah, damn, dude. But like that's what I take away from the military. It's like if somebody below you fails,
Accountability.
It isn't their fault. It's my fault because I did not explain something to you clear enough and let you know how pertinent this situation is.
Yeah, you need to make it important for them.
Well, like you mentioned
Exactly.
before, it's like they line up 5 colored balls in front of you, and it's like go grab the blue ball, and you come back with the red ball, and then you're.
I
getting-
did not make myself clear
I
enough.
didn't. Yeah. There's only one color out there you need to come back with.
But what do you think about? And I'll end here. This is my last question. Then I'll let you tie it up, Tom. What do you think about leadership? Like, do you have experience with leadership? Do you like yourself, or have you maybe not, but have seen really great leaders, and you're like, this is one of the biggest take homes for me as far as leadership? Because that's another thing like the military does harp on. It's like, even though you're the lowest on the totem pole, you have the ability and you are a leader. You're supposed to act like one. So what are your thoughts on just leadership in general? Like, have you had a great leader?
Yeah, so I've had really good ones and I've
really
had
bad ones.
I've had some bad ones.
Yeah.
And for me, I think showing up is a big one. Like, I need you to let your subordinates, because I was never like a leader. I never went to NCO school or anything like that. And I think you need to be able to be there. You need to listen to your people.
Yeah.
And if they have something to say, it's probably a bigger deal for them to say something that could upset you than it is for you to take 5 minutes of your time and listen. You need to listen to it.
Yeah.
And I've had people that, like the guy that took my ammo can away from me, who said, you don't need this anymore. He would come down there and he would visit us. He would visit every shift, whether you worked nights or whether you worked days. He would visit them every week, and not in a harassing way. He would come down there and he'd be like, what's going on?
Yeah. Just chew the fat.
100%.
Yeah.
Or he'd be like, what kind of questions do you have? Let me teach you something. Let me teach you something that I learned my time in the Army, which is a little bit more hands-on than what you guys have to do now.
Yeah.
And I think being there for your people is probably the biggest thing. And I've seen a serious dip in that coming to the civilian side.
I carry that with me, dude. That's the reason I'm working night shift.
Yeah.
This weekend, by the way.
Yeah.
So fucking, and I get praise from a lot of people. Actually, in that situation I told you about my boss, with that whole kid thing that was going on, later months down the road, she offhandedly commended me for it, even though at the time I put myself in hot water. I was holding myself accountable. I was like, I'm a shitbag. I screwed this up.
Yeah.
Like, my bad. Like, hey,
your people respect you, or reflect you.
And then I went to, we're talking months later, and she was like, yeah, you remember that one time you did that? That was when I knew, or whatever, and that was how I know. I was like, thank you. And then now, like, anytime my guys need anything, I'm there, drop of a hat.
Luckily now, with the place I'm working at now, I have
good leadership.
I have some good leadership. Pretty much everybody that I work with now is a veteran. My boss that I have now is retired from the Marine Corps.
Nice,
so he's
dude.
pretty cool.
Nice.
But yeah, out of
Can
the
he
lawn.
swim?
I would imagine he can probably
Are
swim.
there
Nice,
are
dude.
there any lessons that you think you learned in your time in the military that you want to instill in your kids?
Respect, and I think respect is probably if you can cover respect for others or for yourself, I feel like that pretty much covers pretty much everything. If you're respectful towards other people, I honestly feel like that covers pretty much every base. You're not going to be a dirtbag to somebody because you're being respectful to them. I feel like that's probably the biggest thing. With my oldest, who's just now starting like his journey through school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like just something simple like not talking when the teachers are talking, right? That's respect.
Tom, take notes.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, like my son's
It
8.
just cuts people off all the time, dude.
What's crazy is like my son's 8, and like in class, you message with the teachers or whatever, and you're like, how's he doing? Whatever. And they're like, oh, he's the most respectful kid. And then he gets home and it's like a big ball of energy, but it's like, at least you have that respect when you're not.
He contained it while he needed to.
Right.
And then he just kind of explodes whenever he gets home.
So on
That's
this,
fine. That's your job.
Yep.
on this journey of life, was there ever a moment when you wanted to throw in the towel? And we don't necessarily care about the moment as much as what pulled you through that moment.
Yeah. Whenever I got out, I didn't really have, because like whenever I got out, I couldn't find a job. I was pushing shopping carts at Home Depot.
Fuck yeah.
That was brutal job.
But
brutal job.
But you took it serious or no?
Yeah, I mean, that was my job.
Yeah.
I was there to work as hard as I could while I was there.
Yeah.
And it pretty much just covered grocery money.
Yeah.
And that was brutal. I applied for a lot of jobs, and I'd say my wife is probably the number one thing that got me through like that rough time.
Shout out again to Mary Ellen.
Yep.
So great.
Yep. My rock.
And then advice. What advice would you have for like the everyday person just about life?
That's rough, man.
Oh, it's not that bad.
I just feel like who am I to give advice, right? I think
Like you mentioned,
Like the-
respect and
like the golden rule, right? That really does go far, like a long way. I'm not trying to I'm a leave people alone kind of guy because I want people to leave me alone, right?
Don't talk to me, dude.
That's like a really big like do unto others kind of thing. And if I want people to leave me alone, I'm gonna leave you alone, right?
Yeah.
But on my way to leaving you alone, it's like, are you good? Cool, I'm good.
Yeah.
See ya. Thanks.
And then what about advice for people who want to join the military?
Educate yourself.
Know what you're good.
Know what you're signing up for, and know what like the broad spectrum of every job withholds. Because
you could be doing this, or
like I
signed
up to be a cop, and I did it 13 times.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I know nothing about being a cop, and I did it because I did it right on with my uncle, and I was like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then I pretty much never did it again. And dude, that's my biggest thing is you need to make sure don't trust them recruiters, man.
They'll get you, dude.
They will get you, and they'll flash a little bit of money in your face. Be like, I'll give you a bonus. Make sure you educate yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Morgan Howard doing it the right way. I feel like as a recruiter.
Such a good dude.
I don't know.
Such a good dude. He, Marine to Army because he chose the right team finally.
Yeah.
Finally. Really great dude. He's dating a new gal now. Congratulations, Morgan.
Yeah.
If you see this.
Last minute shout outs. Who's got you to where you're at and who's keeping you going?
What do you mean?
Brian.
Like in general, like just general shout outs. Like people are going to tell this episode's about, or tell them about this episode. I can't talk all of a sudden.
To my Delta dogs, the guys that I worked with at
you got to tell them all about it.
I'm sure I'll tell them to tune into it.
The
right,
DDs.
Yeah. Delta Flight, what's up? And then people that I work with at the Lock and Dam, I'll probably tell them, hey, check this out.
Yep.
And then probably my wife. I'd be like, hey, let's watch this.
The Rock.
Let's look at how cringe I am on this this podcast.
No, you're great, dude.
So,
you're great.
This is awesome, man. I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Dude, you look great, man. You're dialing a lot of stuff back, and I appreciate that about you. You're looking at yourself. You're holding yourself accountable. I like that. I like that, man. I like that about you. You have that wherewithal. You know what I mean?
Thanks, man.
A lot of people don't have that, i.e. myself.
I'm more of a Neanderthal myself. You know what I'm saying?
You're a better man than me. That's what I'm saying, dude.
I appreciate it, man.
No, man. So just thank you so much for your time. We caught you on a Sunday right after, the praise, dude.
Yeah.
So glad you could stop on into the day's grim. I'll
have to bring you guys a sticker. I got one of my squadron. I'll bring.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
Yeah,
I'll slap
man.
it right in the middle there, dude.
Yeah,
right
man.
on the Jeep Star, dude. But no, seriously, thank you so much for your time. I really, really, really do appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, guys.
Tom is kind of just a piece of shit and along for the ride. So, I love you, dude. This has been another thrilling episode of The Day's Grim. My name is Brian Michael Day.
My name is Thomas Grimm.
And this has been Chris Barron. Thank you so much, sir. I greatly appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.